hope you're ready for this.
Gonna be fun.
You will not stand in my way.
Frostborn, hunger. This pleases me.
I do not fear you, mortal.
Your soul shall be mine.
Don't make me laugh.
Needs a brew? Oh, I do. Feel a shredding, baby. Let the battle begin.
So welcome to the 9th episode of Trollin HGC, a Heroes of the Storm podcast focused on esports, a member of the Trolls.gg podcast network. I'm your host, LiQuid, and you may have noticed Bahgz is not with us. He had to work tonight, so I'm joined today by Bacon. How's it going, man?
It feels good to be one of the resident hosts of the show again, right? Because I counted. We counted before the show, and it's actually 3 now. So
yeah, I'm telling you, that's
right.
a third. That's a third. But look, here's the thing. So I do want you to join us next week and be the 3 of us. It'll be a good show. The week after that, Bahgz is out again. We can do another show together. That puts you at 5 of 11. I think that's good enough to count half at that point, man. So I'll give you that. I'll give you that. You got half. And then if you're on the week after that, that's 6 of 12 because the week after that, Bahgz might be back, Bahgz might not, and boom, there you go, 6 of 12. That's definitely half. So
this is my long con to slowly take over.
Slowly take
and
over.
Replace Bahgz.
Now, if anything, it'll slowly turn it into, instead of a 2-man show, a 3-man show. I gotta look out, man. I gotta look out. You're sneaky sometimes.
No. Bahgz is too good. For
So
me. So
no, you're.
he's always gonna be.
Look, I love Bahgz. I appreciate you coming on the show. Like, I really do. So thank you for doing that.
Yeah, you guys have good things going on, so I kind of do it as a favor, but it's also fun for me to come on.
Yeah, you get to talk HGC and esports. I mean, what can be better than that?
Well,
but
the Gang Push doesn't talk about any of it, so
no, it's like so.
Try to get it out somehow.
But now Gang Push, those guys, you guys do a great show over there. I don't want it to sound like I'm bagging on your show because I think you guys do a great show over there at gangpushsquad.com. But it's not esports related, right? It's like it's general. It's like the Nexus Trolls almost. But I'd say you guys get even more into like what works for different play levels, which is cool. That's one of the things I definitely appreciate about your show because you guys got a little bit of everything there.
A little bit of everything, but zero esports.
Yeah, zero esports. All right. So before we get into too much, because we have a decent amount to cover tonight, I do want to thank our Patreons over at patreon.com/trollsgg. We do share that with the Nexus Trolls. And we're using all of the money that we've gathered through patreon.com/trollsgg to purchase our BlizzCon swag that we're going to give away during BlizzCon week while we are down there. In addition, you may have noticed, you may not have noticed, we have a sub button up above. We did get Twitch affiliate stats and we did get our sub button. So if you also want to throw us a sub over here at Twitch, that's also appreciated. And you know what we started doing about 3 weeks ago? Well, actually, this is the 3rd week. We started recognizing a troll of the week. And I think I'm going to have to put your name in for this, Bacon, because, you definitely have been around for a while. But our troll of the week this week is Octoboss. He's been around since pretty much his 2nd show. He pops in all the time. 2nd show of the Nexus Trolls. So that's 38 weeks ago. Pops in to chat, both in-game chat and Twitch chat. Lets us know, what he's doing and what he's thinking, and always gives us some good ideas when he's around. So thank you, Octoboss, for watching the shows. All right.
And congrats on that sub button, huh?
Thank you, right?
Cool.
That was awesome. We got that news this weekend. Daz was super excited. We're working on getting an emote done. And so soon we'll have a sub button. Well, we have a sub button, right? But soon we'll have a emote to go along with that sub button. So we're pretty excited about that. All right.
Nice.
Some news. I don't know if you noticed this or not, but Arcaner did tweet out that he's going to leave Nomia after the Clash. He's going to move to the UK, compete in the Open Division, and look to make his name in EU. What do you think about that?
Rest in peace. The only good team in that region, huh?
Right.
But Arcaner and Robodoba, right?
Yes.
So they're both leaving after the Clash. So Arcaner is the team captain, and which position is Robodoba?
So Robodoba, if I remember correctly, was Warrior, yep. And he has not said where he's going to go, whether he's going to EU or not. He's just said he's going to leave Nomia.
I mean, I guess players like that, I mean, you have so much ambition, and like Arcaner obviously has a lot of ambition because he's moving to a different country to make his dreams come true. Good luck to him.
Right. Exactly.
But like it just goes to show, like even if you're the best country in a not best country, best team in a minor region, that you can only go so far, and I guess frustrations mount up because I don't want to like say anything about the team, and because I don't know what the going ons are happening, but I wonder like what's going on in the team atmosphere that like 2 of the players are leaving.
Well, and you know what's interesting is I think we'll see the same thing out of Jay Street, but post BlizzCon. He has said that he's definitely looking to move up to North America, but he's waiting until post BlizzCon. He's Latin America, Red Canids.
Red Canids, yeah.
Yeah, yep. So he said he plans on moving on to a North American team. But he's not going to do it pre-BlizzCon because he looks at it this way. Even if he left Latin America now, he'd have to compete in an open division team, then win at the Crucible. Then in 2018, he could try and get into HGC, right? Where this way, if he waits, he can go all the way through BlizzCon, get his winnings from BlizzCon, whatever that may be. Because let's be honest, in Latin America, it's probably going to be those guys again. And then from there, he can, move on into the next thing. Try and find an open division team for the beginning of 2018 and break in post midseason brawl next year with a North American team. So I think
also,
that's how
who
he's
knows?
looking at it.
We don't know what the rules are going to be and what the setup and format's going to be for next year. So maybe if he stuck it out, and maybe it'll benefit him. Next year, maybe the format will be better for minor regions. Right. You never know.
I agree. All right. So there were no results this weekend, obviously, because, there were no games this weekend. Everybody's traveling. Let's just real quick, we're going to hit the top 3 for each of the major region and then just jump right into the preview of the Western Clash because, there's not a whole lot to talk about in the pro scene. But currently in China, we do have SPT in number 1, CE in number 2, E-Star in number 3. Were you surprised by any of those 3? Did any of those 3 like jump out and say, oh man, I thought it was going to be something different? Or is that how you imagined it would go?
I thought it was going to be the top 3. Like these top 3 are going to be top 3 no matter what because they're always top 3. But the order kind of surprised me. E-Star was always kind of the favorite. And they're number 3, CE and Super Perfect Team. Okay. I mean, wasn't Super Perfect Team they were like number 2 or 3 spot in the last midseason brawl?
Okay. Yes. Yes, they were.
Region? Yeah. And the Super Perfect Team only got in because one of the teams got visa issues.
CE, was it CE? I think it was CE that had visa issues and E-Star went. I'm almost positive that's what happened. Okay.
I mean, the ordering, it doesn't really matter anyway because it's top 3.
Right.
But I'm not surprised at all that these 3 teams were the ones that made it through.
Yeah. No. Okay. All right. How about over in Korea? We have number 1, MVP Black, number 2, L5, and number 3, Tempest.
All's right in the world. What else is there to say? Come on, MVP Black's undefeated. Let's go, boys.
All right. I agree. Yes. I guess I was more surprised at Tempest.
Tempest looks okay. But the thing I'm more surprised by is how off L5 looks. And I think the roster changes they made for this split, I don't think it's working out.
No, I would agree with that. I would definitely agree with that being the case this time around. That
like
L5's struggling
with a kind of an amateurish tank player.
Yeah, but yes, no, I completely agree. It's been clear that they struggle there. All right, so let's jump over to EU because we knew you were expecting, your boy in MVP Black to be on the top of that pile. EU, we got number 1 Fnatic, number 2 Team Expert, number 3 Team LiQuiuD, which means there is no room for Dignitas.
Yep.
What do you think?
Now, the past few weeks, I've been reading threads about how Dignitas have been trying things and doing little, role shifts and shot calling changes, and that wasn't enough for them to make the top 3.
Right.
You done goofed, Dignitas. You shouldn't have done it then, because, the bet didn't work. The risk didn't turn out because they didn't look good at all until the very last week, and by then it was too late.
So that's an interesting point of view. So we talked about this a lot, well, not a lot, but a little bit last week with Trent when he was on last week. And he had a good point that said Dignitas looked at themselves after the mid-season brawl and said, look, when we go to BlizzCon, we want to win BlizzCon. And can we do that in our current setup? And they decided that answer was no. They could not do that in their current setup, and they needed to change something. And that's why they made the change here. Now, if you had to pick, do I want to go to the Clash or do I want to go to BlizzCon? Which one would be more important to you?
Now, obviously, going to BlizzCon is the
right?
more preferable option, but they didn't really show what they were trying to do because they just look bad. That was all.
So they changed.
That came out of it.
They changed to his shot calling and they changed to his drafting. Those were the primary changes they made. So you wouldn't necessarily it wasn't a positional change, it was a leadership change as it was, right? So I if you look at it from that point of view, I think it makes sense. I'm a little sad they didn't make it, and they really started to look really good right towards the end. And Bakery has said no, they stuck with their changes and they hit the point where they started clicking. So here we are, and we're doing it that way, I guess, right?
Yeah, and it does seem like behind every successful or dominant team, there's always that one genius drafter,
right,
and a really good shot caller,
right,
and like a backup shot caller for other things. But I guess if they wanted to try new things to get better, they did look back on form the last week before this little break. They 3-0'd whatever team they went up against, and they looked pretty much unstoppable, but it was a little too late.
Right.
So, if they're going to take that and then bring it back after the Clash and then continue to grow in that same rate, why not? They're going to look so strong then.
Right, that's what I'm hoping for, honestly, is that. So we'll have to see how it goes. But then let's hop over to NA, where we have number 1, Gale Force, number 2, Tempo Storm, and number 3, Team Freedom.
Team Freedom, huh?
Did you see that coming? At all?
Kind of. I had my doubts, but Team Freedom's Cure has always had a lot of hype behind him, just like Fan.
Yes.
Every team that Cure joins, he's going to be the one to carry the team to victory. And it kind of seems like on some weeks he did, but it just seems like the whole team in general has gotten better.
I would agree with that.
And it's not just Cure.
No, it does seem like in general the whole team has improved across the board. So yeah, that's probably true. Okay. All right.
I'm digging them. Now that Roll20 has been kind of figured out, it seems like I'm looking for a new North American team to follow, and it seems like Team Freedom might be it.
I'm hoping Roll20 isn't figured out because I'm still holding faith with Glaurung. But
yeah,
we'll have to see.
The issue is we all know the handful of heroes that Roll20 is good at.
Right.
Like Medivh, Diablo, you can that's kind of the same issue that MVP Black had right before Rich left, because Rich had such a small hero pool that he started getting draft choked. Yep. And he was forced onto crappy heroes like Chen, where he was okay at Chen, but he'd rather be on an Illidan or heroes like that. And then during the break, Rich started to stream and practice other heroes like Tracer. There's a bunch of more heroes under his belt. Now he looks unstoppable because you can't draft choke him.
Right.
And it seems like Roll20 has to go back to the drawing board and try new things out, learn more heroes, because once you deny Glaurung his comfort picks, then the team just seems to fall apart.
Right, and I think, yes, I would agree with that, and a lot of that comes from the fact that he's shot calling too, right? Because you definitely need to be able to play what you're comfortable on when you're shot calling, and if he's not on something he's comfortable on, you can tell that shot calling as a whole for that team seems to kind of like die a little bit as well. So,
For sure.
all right, so let's go into our preview then. So, Western Clash, first round matches. We only have the 4 first round matches right now to go over. But Fnatic versus Red Canids. I personally think Fnatic has that. I'm not sure about in the bag, but they have that kind of solidly. What do you think?
I think Red Canids can beat him.
Do you? Okay. All right.
I can't even say that with a straight face.
Good try, man. You almost got there. You almost got there.
I almost got you, but no, it's gonna, come on, it's Fnatic. I'm sorry, Red Canids. You guys are great players, obviously.
Right. But you're not that great. Like it's a struggle, right? Like I get it. I totally get it. Okay. All right. Well, that's one.
And Fnatic's gonna get it. The W. That is.
Okay. That's one. I can go with that. What about let's do Tempo Storm versus Team LiQuiud, because I think that one's gonna be really good.
Honestly, that's so 50-50. I don't know. That's crazy.
Right? Like that one, it's hard to even guess who's gonna take what.
Now, like, the Reddit community has been asking, will NA take a series off of the European team?
Yep.
This is the best chance that
You
they
think
have.
so? Okay.
I think, yeah.
Okay. All right. I would agree that this is probably the best chance. Maybe, but we'll go where I'll tell you why I say maybe in a minute. All right. Gale Force versus Nomia.
Gale Force, come on.
As much as I want Nomia, and Nomia might pull a map. I just don't know if they can pull 2 maps. So we might.
I think so too.
You know, I struggle thinking that. I think Gale Force is a little stronger now than they used to be. But we'll have to see. We'll have to see how that works out.
At the same time, Gale Force is also the one that NA's the hardest NA, like randomly.
Yeah.
Right?
No, for sure.
If Nomia is having a good game, they can definitely take a game or 2 off.
Well, and that's why it's like it's hit or miss, right? Because Nomia doesn't NA like Gale Force NAs, so
yeah.
Right. What are you gonna do there, right? All right. Now we go to the one that I think is where actually NA has a better chance. Team Expert versus Team Freedom. And this is nothing against Team Expert. This is just we have 2 kind of different drafting styles from both of these. Like Tempo Storm LiQuiud is kind of standard meta drafts, right? Freedom and Expert are like 2 guys that they both kind of run their own way. And I think we could see something really weird. And that's where we might see an NA team take a game off an EU team or take a series.
Yeah. I haven't seen too much of Team Expert play, but they're this 3 seed right now?
Yeah, I think that's where they ended up. No, 2nd.
Okay. Who's the 3 seed? Temple Storm?
LiQuiud is the 3 seed. They barely squeezed in. Yeah.
LiQuiud, yeah. Okay.
So
I think it's all gonna depend on how Team Freedom looks.
Yeah.
And because towards the end of this first little run, Team Freedom's amazing run started to peter out a little bit, and they were starting to lose some sets.
Right.
So let's see how their boot camp is going, and we'll see how good their boot camp is. Like Kira has been streaming every day, and it seems like he's a little bit cranky.
Right. Yeah.
So maybe if the European lifestyle gets to him, maybe we'll see him tilt a little bit, but I think it'll be fine.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it goes. All right. Who's going to win it all? I'm putting you on the spot. We can both
say it at the same time, right?
No, I'm putting you on the spot. You got to pick one.
It's got to be Fnatic.
Yes. There's nobody's taking it away from Breeze. Breeze is going to walk in and see that trophy and be like, yo, that's mine. All y'all need to know, this is mine. and that's just all there is to it, right? I agree completely.
I don't think it's gonna be close at all. Like
No.
no one on this list can like, not even close. Like Gale Force, never, unless they're having the best day of their lives and Fnatic throws so many games.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it just can't, right? Fnatic's just got to be able to take it as a whole.
I mean, Fnatic's undefeated except for that last little match where they said they kind of threw on purpose, right? So, like, if they want to, they can pretty much win every single game they want.
Right. No, that's true. All right.
They're like the MVP Black of Europe.
Yeah. All right, I can go with that. I will let it stand. Yep, I can do that.
Thank you.
I can do that. All right. But which NA team do you think will be the next one? Like, which NA team is going to perform the best?
I can easily answer perform the worst, and I think pretty sure that's going to be Temple Storm, like always. I want Team Freedom to do well. I think the storyline of Kira is an interesting one, going from the college esports event. What's that called? Heroes of the Dorm.
Yep.
Going from that and winning it all to the first HGC team. I think it'll be nice for him to do well. And Team Freedom, in the first run, they didn't place very well. They kind of barely made it into the second phase, and
right.
For them to suddenly turn this around and do so well and even do better than Gale Force, I think like that's potential for an amazing story.
No, it is. It absolutely is. Yes. And we'll have to see how it goes. I would love to see them do. So, who do I think will perform the best?
Yeah.
I think Gale Force will do NA things. I want Tempo Storm to do well.
They never do well though.
They don't. And I think you're right. I think the Cure story, like, if you ignore everything else, I think the story of here's a guy from Dorm on a pro team, join them for this split, boom, they make it, they qualify, like, they look like a different team, and, here's how well they're doing. Yeah. It's a story. It's a great story. It makes you feel something. It would be awesome if that was the way that. And let's be honest, man. Team Freedom, those guys have been kind of on kind of the bottom side of the standings. So the fact that they're even making it is a huge step up for them. But I would love to see them not just make it, but to like do something with it. You know what I mean? Like, let's see them do something with it. That's what I want.
Oh, yeah. I mean, baby steps, right? So they were in the bottom half for the first split. Maybe if they do the best out of the NA teams for this one and then make it to BlizzCon for the second split, I mean, that's a pretty good growth as a team over the course of a year. I mean, this is kind of like what we're looking for when we started HGC, right? Teams like this to slowly improve over time.
Right, exactly. So, all right.
And this is kind of like why I was a fan of... I'm still a fan, but this is why I was a huge fan of Roll20 when they first started out as Teammate.
Right.
Because, they had the community against them, with Chu Wade leaving the team early and causing all that controversy. But, Glaurang rallying the team and, placing well and doing well in international competition. This is just part two, just with a different team. And I like these kinds of stories.
So I want to expand on that a little bit. So that's one of the things we talked about last week, was part of what's missing right now of, what's the word I'm thinking of? Heroes eSports, right? Did you hear that segment? The storyline and like making you care.
Yeah.
It is, right? It's definitely missing. And I think Team Freedom gives you, like, you have that ability to feel something for that team. The same was true of Team 8 before they became Roll20. And even as Roll20, they're still the same team, but it's like, it doesn't have quite the same feel, because it's not the, hey man, we have nothing behind us, we're four guys and we're just making this work, right? Like, it no longer feels that way. So yeah.
I mean, it's like for me as a casual viewer, not a casual. I mean, for me as a viewer, I try to latch onto and grab every little crumb
Right.
that the HGC gives us in terms of like the drama and growth and the things behind the scenes, and that's why I was such a fan of Teammate.
Right.
And I definitely do agree with Trent that Blizzard themselves needs to do a better job. And they have all those videos like before events where they bring players in like a week or two before and shoot those little short videos and interviews. Like I love those things, but it's so infrequent. And like they have a bunch of time in between matches to air those things and get the fan base to learn about the heroes behind their
Right.
I just had a brain fart, but you know what I mean, right?
Yeah. No, exactly. And that's what we need. That's what we need more of, right? So yes. All right. I'm gonna hit these quick because I know how much you love MVP Black. So we're just gonna go over what the first round matches are. We're not gonna preview them. We're not gonna predict any. We'll go into those next week when we go through our Eastern Clash preview round. But MVP Black versus Deadly Kittens is match 1. Tempest versus CE is match 2. Super Perfect Team versus Team Face Check, match 3. And E-Star Gaming versus L5 is match 4. Deadly Kittens, of course, coming from, I think that one is Southeast Asia.
Taiwan?
Is it? Yeah, you're right. That is Taiwan.
Like that,
Yeah, you're correct. That's Taiwan. And Team Face Check is the Southeast Asia team. So, all right.
What does Southeast Asia mean? Because Taiwan is also
right.
Southeast
I
Asia,
don't know quite what the region Southeast Asia actually
Is it the
means.
islands or?
It's gotta be. I don't know. I've you know what? We might have to look into that for next show. I'm not really sure what they consider Southeast Asia, to be honest.
Okay.
Yeah. All right.
Well, there's MVP Black. There's Tempest and C. I think it's gonna.
That's
be
gonna be
close.
the good game.
That's that's the drama one. Yeah.
Yeah. And E-Star L5
Yeah.
is not gonna be that close, I don't think. But we'll see. We'll see how that goes.
Which way do you think it'll go?
I think L5 still hasn't found their form yet.
You think L5 is the one that's not favored, huh?
I think L5 being number 2 is not a true testament of where they belong in Korea right now, and I believe personally that E-Star is going to come out ahead in that one.
Okay.
But we'll see. That'll be a good one to talk about next week. You'll have a week to think about that one.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, so everybody that watches knows I'm also a big proponent of amateur scene. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to jump into our amateur scene stuff. I really need to get bumpers made for this stuff. I just haven't yet. All right, so jumping into the amateur scene, we actually had 2 Open Division Cups last week. Well, one in the end of we actually, in the last 10 days, have had 3 Open Division Cups. So last Monday, Tuesday, we had an NA Cup. That was Cup number 3. We covered that in the last show. And then Wednesday, Thursday, we had the bonus cup in NA. And then Monday, Tuesday this week, we had the EU Division, Open Division Cup number 4. So, Cup number 4, we had, for the semifinals, we had Leftovers win 2-1 over Ardent Esports. And we had Bushido Esports lose 0-2 to run it down. Which was interesting to me because Bushido had a poor showing the week before last. In Cup number 3, and then had a poor showing again this Cup. I mean, top 3 is still top 3, right? But it was a weaker one. The third place match, of course, being Ardent Esports versus Bushido. Bushido winning that 2-1. The finals, of course, being Leftovers versus Run It Down. Leftovers winning that 2-0, putting Leftovers almost 100 points ahead of all the other teams in the EU Open Division right now with 405. Bushido Esports sitting in second with 315. Run It Down in third with 285. And Shizeisen in number 4 with 140 points.
Well, I like that pronunciation.
I got corrected on it 2 weeks ago, and I was told I got it correct last week, so I'm sticking with it. So, what do you think about? Did you check out any of these at all?
Run It Down looks new to me. I'm familiar with Shizeisen and Shizeisen and Bushido Esports, but Leftovers and Run It Down. Are there any notable names in that team?
I think both of them actually have like one or two. I don't remember off the top of my head. Let me go out to our friendly website, masterleague.net, which I use to grab all this stuff. Yeah. And they should have a team out there. Turn that off and do that.
Run It Down.
Ardent, Leftovers, Run It Down. All right, so Ardent Esports, Lampy. I recognize Lampy. I don't know if he's... Yeah, he was on Team Sandwich Monkey. That's where I remember him from. So Lampy is their assassin player. And then over to Leftovers. Leftovers has actually been winning a number of cups. So before the split, they actually were doing pretty well. Then we had the split, and they got a third, a second, a first, and a first. So Leftovers has been around a little while. I feel like I know some of these guys, but I don't remember where from. Oh, yeah. All right, so Potty Boss, the flex player, is from Polska. I've seen him there. Let's see, what else do we have?
And, oh my gosh, one of the players' name is called Dota is Better.
Right.
Are you kidding me?
And he's new to the team. Like, he hasn't played anywhere else. And then Run It Down has a third-place finish and a second-place finish, so they're improving. But I'm Tank for the Win is on Run It Down, so he's been around for a while. He was on Be Genius for a while. Unstable is on Run It Down. So Unstable is Run It Down is probably the most stacked team. Tix came from 4K MMR Average. They used to play together. Nasty from 2B's Determined. And then Kaz, let's see where Kaz is from. Kaz is from Easy. So Kaz is probably the most amateur of them. So Run It Down is probably the most stacked of the Open Division teams currently.
I also love how passionate these Open Division guys are, but it's like a roster apocalypse every week.
So yes and no, it's not actually as bad as it used to be because they're only taking the top 8. So the being around and having more points is more important now than it was last split.
Yeah, they made the changes, right, to the point system.
Yep. So
and do you think it has helped?
I'll tell you after the playoffs. Well, honestly, that's what it comes down to, right? Because if you can still get into the playoffs having only been around 1 or 2 games, it has not solved the core issue.
Yeah, what was it? Team Good Guys made it through because of 1 cup last?
Yep, they won 1 cup and then they were in the playoffs. So that's what it's going to come down to, right? All right. So, all right, let's move into the NA Open Division Cup results. This is the bonus cup that Gosu Gamers worked out with Blizzard and gave everybody 5 days notice of and said, hey, guess what? We're going to have a bonus cup 1 day after you guys finish the first cup. And what's interesting is the top 4 for the bonus cup were the same top 4 from the cup right before it. I don't know that that's really shocking because the cup before it was like literally a day before it. But we had Donkeys R Us losing to HID, held it down 2-0. We had Imported Support winning over Flame is Lame 2-0. Third place match, we had Donkeys R Us beating Flame is Lame 2-0. And in the finals, we had Held It Down beating Imported Support 2-1. The standings in the top 4 are very close. We have Donkeys R Us in number 1 with 300 points. Imported Support with 270. Held It Down with 240, and Flame is Lame with 200. The top 8 also close. So it's not like there's a huge gap there all of a sudden. NA Open Division is tight like it was last season. It will be very interesting to see what happens when they go to... I just lost my train of thought. I'm sorry. When they go to the playoffs.
Playoffs?
Yeah. So
and isn't Held It Down just Hold It Down with a different player? They had to like disband and remake a team.
Yes, it was
one of the players.
It was Hold It Down, and now it's Held It Down.
God, I love it.
But that's the thing, right? You can't make roster changes, so you lose your points if you have to do something like that. Which actually, as a team manager now, bothers me. You know what? Sometimes people can't make it. Like, can I have a sub possibility?
Yeah. It's almost like you're an unpaid intern trying to get a job, but you also can't have a life outside of it.
Right, exactly. All right, so that's Open Division, and then we have going on right now. You don't have to watch that though. You can watch it on VOD. Watch us. Keep going. Heroes Hype Tempo Storm Season 2 finals are going right now over at twitch.tv/Heroes Hype. And then this past weekend, I don't know if you got a chance, but did you watch any of the Bloodlust?
I watched a little bit, yeah.
So it was interesting to me to see how Donkeys R Us and Hold It Down did. Because
they didn't do too bad.
They did not, but the question is how hard were GFE and Tempo Storm drafting, because they didn't want to show anything, right? So you have that coming into thought. But all right, let's just real quick give a rundown. So Roll20 won the event. GFE finished second. Tempo Storm third. Hold It Down fourth. And in the 5th, 6th position, we have No Tomorrow Team Naventic. And 7, 8 is Donkeys R Us and Superstars. They did Hold It Down did look better than Donkeys R Us did.
Okay.
Which I would expect. But again, Tempo Storm and GFE weren't really showing like real draft strategies because what do you call it?
The clash.
The clash is coming up, right? So they're not going to show any of their strategies. But it was
Just
good
to show you, like them like trying at 50%, they can still dominate these Open Division teams.
Right. No, I agree. I totally agree. What do you think? What? So you watched a little bit of Bloodlust. What did you think in general?
I thought there was a lot of heart in it. It's a lot of fun, full of memes, which I love. the pepper cast they were trying to do, they bought the wrong pepper, so it wasn't even hot.
Right.
So they tried multiple times. That was fun. I liked the casual nature of it.
Okay.
And how like the casting, sometimes they shit on the players.
Right.
And that's a lot of fun.
Right.
Zoya, it doesn't really have a filter. I mean, he does try, but it's funny like when like something slips out of his tongue and he didn't mean it for it to come out.
Right.
And it's just a bunch of fun in general. Like this is the most NA tournament that you can ever have, outside of the HGC. Like it's fun to fund it. Like if you like this sort of things, then you should definitely go to their pages and then support them.
No, absolutely, right. Like it makes sense to try and support them as much as you can.
What did you think?
Okay, this is the part where I'm going to disagree with you, and I'm probably going to tick off somebody somewhere. All right. So to me, there was a point where in Twitch chat, all we could see was them eating a pepper, but a game was going on. But all that was on the camera and on the stream were the 3 of them eating a pepper. And I'm like, I want to see the bloody game. Like, I get it, and it's cool that you guys are eating peppers. I fully support that. Do it in a little window somewhere. I want to at least watch the game. Like, you don't even have to cast the... Like, I don't need you telling me what's going on in the game. Like, at least show the game. And it was at that point that Lashes Sashes, the community rep for Blizzard, at least 4 times in Twitch chat said, are you guys going to cast the game? And I'm like, thank you. Somebody at Blizzard recognizes that they should be casting the game. Like, I get that the memes were important, so I support the memes. It helped build the prize pool. Like, that's awesome. And I get it.
I think that's an important part of it, because it was all, crowdsourced, so.
Right.
If this is one of the goals, then you should actually, because I'm all for this because it's only one game. So.
But it doesn't have to be just the view of that, right? Like, you can show the game while you're eating the peppers and be okay. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that was my struggle.
Like, maybe, like, they did it in the corner sometimes, but are you saying like they had?
I'm saying it was just the whole screen was filled with them. No game, just them. And the game's going.
How long?
I mean, it was only probably like 3 or 4 minutes of the game, and it was probably a mistake. And like, I don't know, man. Like, I know I'm nitpicking, and I feel bad for nitpicking, but like at the end of the day, if you're putting on a tournament and you're like, we're gonna cast a tournament, like at least have the game up when the game's rolling. You know what I mean?
If they were eating the peppers and they didn't realize it wasn't showing the game for 3 to 4 minutes because their mouth is so hot. I think that's a pretty NA thing to do, and I think that's in the spirit of Bloodlust.
You know what? That's true. That's probably true.
Because I think they're pretty open. What's his name? The guy who hosts everything.
Jake.
The owner. Jake. Okay.
Yeah.
So he's pretty open about, Bloodlust is for fun and like, yeah, there's going to be high level of games, but it's all about, the memes and the trolliness of it all. Right.
Which I totally get, right? Like I'm like, I love the event. I'm totally not trying to bash the event, but in my opinion, it needed to be.
I feel you. Like there are some people who are actually fans of the teams that are playing who want to see the game. Yeah.
Right. Like I wanted to see the game. I didn't. You know what? I threw money at the event. I supported it through Matcherino. I wasn't looking to see him eat peppers. I could give a shit about Jake eating peppers or any of them eating peppers. I wanted to watch the game. Like, I get that people wanted to see that, though, so I was okay. Like, between games and even during games in a little window, I totally get it. But, like, these teams are trying, like Ogre's saying in chat, they're trying to win because they want the money, at least, outside of the top three.
Trying, because
well, outside
of the HGC teams that participate,
they weren't trying.
They openly said they're not going to draft 100%. Yeah. So, I mean, the teams are playing in an NA style, the casters are casting in NA style, the chat is NA. I think it's
no, it's totally NA, and I get it, but like at the same time, I don't know. It's one of the things I struggle with because I tend to take my stuff a little more seriously, and it's probably me, which is weird because I'm doing a freaking podcast, right? And you're like, well, how are you taking shit seriously? You're doing a podcast, but I kind of do in a weird little way. Like, all right, I'm gonna go into a little story about me, and maybe this is why it bothered me so much. So when I first cast Chair League, I spent like 3 hours the day of my first match making sure everything was working right. Like I took replay files and I cast the replay files to make sure all my scenes were set up, everything looked right. Like I was crazy obsessed over this, right? And then I would see other streamers and they're like, oh yeah, I couldn't get that working, so I just didn't use it this time around. And I'm just like, what do you mean? Like, you just practice and like make sure it's working. Like what? So I don't know. Like I think part of it was I was expecting a Caldor tournament cast, not a solid Jake tournament cast.
If Caldor ran this, it would be like so tight.
Right. That's what I was expecting. Like my boy Cal, like, look, Jake is an NA caster. Maybe I'm just not NA. Maybe I'm EU and I just don't even know it, man. Maybe that's what it is.
Well, you and Caldor both share a shiny head.
Shiny heads, right?
Yeah, like, and I say that in a lovingly way.
Hey, man, I know I'm bald. I'm okay with that. You know what? Caldor really pulled me into the esports and Heroes of the Storm. Like, there wasn't a ton of coverage at the time when I first started watching outside of the main tournaments, and Caldor always had something on. So, like, every weekend I would put Caldor on, and the days he was up, like, he did one day, he cast for, like, some insane number of hours because he was doing, like, he ended up doing 2 tournaments back to back. I watched the entire time, and, like, I just, like, that's where my crazy I'm going to watch a lot of esports came from, was like, well, if Caldor can stream it, I can watch it. And then like, so I guess I've adjusted to his casting personality. It's interesting too, because I like him and Trixler better than I like Dreadnought and Gillyweed.
Oh, really?
So maybe I'm just EU. Maybe that's what it comes down to. Like, I totally like Dreadnought and Gillyweed. Don't get me wrong. Like I love those two, but
No, I'm
maybe
with
they're
you
just
too.
too NA for me. Maybe I'm just EU, and that's just the way it is.
I like Caldor and Grubby from StarCraft 2 because before Heroes, StarCraft 2 was my jam. And Caldor was one of the casters for Korea.
Yes, and what's even crazier is I never even watched him in that stuff. Like I didn't watch any of that.
He was great there.
He I don't know. Like Caldor is the one that inspired. I'm like, man, his setup is awesome. I want to set up like that, and like I've started moving that direction. But like there's amateur guys that have impressed me and like inspired me too. But Caldor is like that one dude that I'm always like, I want to be him when I grow up. So I don't know. If that makes me EU, maybe that's what it is. But I think that's my problem. I was expecting a Caldor tournament, and I got a Solid Jake tournament. There's nothing wrong with it. It was still a good time. It wasn't what I was looking for.
Ogre says in chat, Dread and Gilly have way too many awkward moments. I think that's part of their charm, man.
But see, that's what turns me off, and why I like Trixler and Caldor better.
The undertones of the sexual
of
tension
them
that they have.
Yeah. No, it's cool though. Like I think Dread and Gilly are a good pair. I just think they're just not the pair for me. Right? And everybody's got their own preference. So
yeah, I get it.
Wow. So this went from Bloodlust into EU versus NA and your personality test. There it is, man. That's how we do it here. All right.
Hey, at least Caldor, Gilly, Dread, Trixler, at least they're better than Wolf.
See, I think Wolf is just understated. I actually like Wolf. It's like,
I like Wolf too. He went to high school near me.
Did he? I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's from Georgia. And then right after high school, like a year or two later, he flew over to Korea to cast.
Actually, it's not G-Clef, it's the other guy, because G-Clef's the guy that normally casts with them.
Raleigh Jaffa?
Yes, that dude is awesome.
I like him.
That dude is awesome. We need more of him.
He's like, he was a little awkward in the beginning, but I like his voice and the way he, casts. So I think once he settles in, if they ever give him more opportunities to cast, I think it's going to be a good pairing.
All right, so here's a funny thing my wife makes fun of me for since we're on this topic. And you just mentioned you like his voice. So you know how I don't want to say normal North American adults over the age of 40 fall asleep on the couch watching Sunday night NFL or Sunday NFL. That's like a thing here in the States, right? Like I don't know if you've experienced that, but it's a thing. It's a thing I grew up with. Like my dad and my grandfather would all fall asleep on the couch watching Sunday NFL. Like games on,
yeah,
fall asleep on the couch, right? Kids running around doing whatever the heck they want to do. I have discovered that Caldor can put me right to sleep if I want to take a nap on a couch when I have HGC on. Well, actually, it doesn't even have to be HGC. Any tournament. Like, my wife's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm loading up an old Caldor VOD. I'm going to take a nap. She's like, what? I'm like, yeah, watch this. I pop it on and like, bam. And like I'm just out. And it's not that he puts me to sleep. It's that his voice is like very like soothing. I find it.
No, I think you're getting into a pattern because I had kind of the similar thing with StarCraft 2 because I would always watch the same two casters.
Yeah.
And like I would fall asleep to them. So in the middle of the day, like if I were to watch them again, I would start to get sleepy. I'm like, oh no, I have to stop watching this VOD or I'm going to take a nap.
I'm going to take a nap. But like, I love that. Like there's nothing I like. So my favorite thing to do, and I've just recently started, well, not recently, probably since Mid-Season Brawl, I've just started doing this, is on Sunday, if I don't care about one of the, or Saturday for that matter, if I don't care about one of the regular group stage games that's on, like it's not like critical to me to watch it, I'll take a nap watching it. Like I just fall asleep watching HGC. And my kids will go to change the channel. I'm like, don't touch it, I'm watching that. And they're like, you're snoring. I'm like, I'm watching this. They're like, okay. And they leave and they let me have the TV back. So like I've adopted that NFL nap on the couch to be a HGC nap on the couch. So like yeah. So all right. Let's jump into some of the other discussion topics we have for tonight. Korea. So Korean teams have said they don't see enough money to the top end teams to support them really putting an investment in.
It kind of reflects all the other esports in Korea too.
Right. Like the top teams need to get the money. If they don't, like they don't invest. Do you think bits is enough to help with that? The
Sorry,
cheering.
my phone.
That's all right.
I don't know because like they get about like 40% of the cut, right?
Right. But I mean, you
And-
need a lot of bits.
Exactly. It's they just turned it on like a couple days ago, and it was enough to get like 1.5 million bits.
Yep.
So who knows? Like, and they were only rebroadcasting mid-season brawl. So when I think this clash is gonna be a true tell on how successful this system's gonna be,
Okay.
because I mean people are gonna be tracking how much money teams make over the course of the weekend.
The weekend, yeah.
And then we can kind of apply that to the other teams. And I mean, it's got to be some kind of motivator, right, to do well.
Well, so let me ask you a question about this. How do you watch HGC when you watch it? Like weekend, full tournament, you know you're going to watch a game. How do you watch it?
If I have some time or I'm able to, I listen to the audio of the tournament during work,
Okay.
right?
Yep.
So, like, I might miss a few of the big flashy team fights, but I kind of have a good idea of what's going on during the games and who's winning and losing. And then as soon as I get home, which is around early afternoon, I turn it on. If there's a favorite team that I missed or I listen to, maybe I rewatch a VOD of that, or, I'm looking forward, like looking at the, live stream.
Yep.
And like do that pretty much throughout the rest of the day if I'm not doing anything. Like, and then I'll play HOTS and, glance over. Just depends, but I pretty much catch 60%-ish of the content that day.
Okay. Okay.
Either directly or indirectly.
Do you, what's the word I want to ask? Do you watch it with chat up normally?
Yeah.
Okay.
Almost always.
Okay. All right.
Because I love it when they say NA lol.
All right.
Makes me smile.
Fair enough, because I do not watch it when they have chat up at all.
And what's your reasoning for that?
Because I just don't care about chat. I'm there to watch the games. You know what? The same exact reasons that I didn't care about watching Jake eat a chili pepper is the same reasons I don't watch it with Twitch chat. I want to watch the games and the cast, right? Like, I'm not looking for anything beyond that.
You know what? I'm gonna change my statement now that thinking about it more.
Okay.
I turn chat on if there's like a big moment.
Yep.
So like if someone messes up hardcore and I know this is gonna be on Reddit in about 2 hours, I'll look at chat then to see the reactions. But other than that, I think I usually have chat off.
Okay. See, that's what I would lean towards.
See, I think it's fun to look at the crowd's reaction, like when big fights are happening or there's funny, dinky NA moments. But other than that, I think I have chat off for the most of the broadcast.
All right. So without chat, right? Like, how much bits are you really spending at that point, right? That's where I'm coming. Like, I typically watch from the couch with my wife. One of two things happens. If it's a game I'm really into, I watch out. I sit on the couch with my wife. We'll watch it together. If it's a game I don't really care about and I'm not taking the nap, I will leave it on the TV in the computer room with us where I'm already playing. Right? Because I'm like, okay, it's my background noise. I'll look at it every once in a while. I watch probably 60% of the game that way. If I'm going to watch one like that. Otherwise, yeah, it's almost constant. I watch it on a TV downstairs. So I don't even have, like, I don't want the chat up on my Xbox. That's a huge pain.
But you said in last episode, you kind of just want to throw money at the team and get whatever in-game items you want. So
Yeah,
I
until
think
I
it
realized
doesn't really
it's-
matter when you're throwing bits. You
No,
can
it
throw
doesn't,
bits
right?
now if you wanted to, right?
Right, and I'm gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it at the time that at the time that they're actually casting. But my point to you is this, right? If they want to monitor how much money they make over the weekend, my money won't be counted in that money. That's where I was going with this. So if I'm MVP Black, and I'm like, I need more money to really stay competitive in this. You need to give me more money somehow. And Blizzard's like, we got you. It's called bits. And you're going to get a portion of a bit every time someone cheers for your team. Now, if I'm MVP Black, I'm like, okay, well, I need to see how this actually works over a weekend where we're playing, right? Like you said, because I think you're completely right about that. So if that's the case, and people like me, or like people that got us over 1 million bits already donated, right? That's not getting counted to the what happened this weekend fund, right? So that's
Yeah.
I guess that's where I'm going with that, right? Like that's a struggle. It's not a
And this
huge
can
struggle,
kinda-
but it's a struggle.
It's an experiment, right? So they're giving it a shot. This was probably some kind of like thing they already signed when they signed with Twitch too. So I think this must have been part of the deal, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm willing to give it a shot. I'm willing to support MVP Black and Fnatic or whoever like I'm cheering for.
Right.
And like even if it does kind of feel bad that only a third of the money is going to the team, but you know, those teams should also have ways to like buy t-shirts or buy mugs or buy mouse pads. So I think it's partly the team's fault too for not having those avenues for fans like us to buy things.
Yes.
Like Roll20 just came out with their jersey like 2 days ago.
Right. Right.
And for the fans who wants to support the team, I guess that's a good way now. But how long has Roll20 been a team? How many months?
Right. And that's the struggle, right? Like that's the struggle. Yeah.
And I mean, I'm glad that this is finally here of a way to kind of support the team, but it also kind of goes into the different frames or strategies that Blizzard is employing with all their games for esports, because, you know, Overwatch is having that huge, big scale, risky Overwatch league that
Right.
millions of dollars are getting put into.
Right.
There's StarCraft 2, who's been like, you know, StarCraft 2 has been so stable for the past 7 years, but for this tournament, finally, they're trying to do what the International does with the battle chest of if you spend X amount of dollars, then you're going to get in-game items, but also support the prize pool for BlizzCon.
Yeah.
Right? That's what the Dota 2 has been doing for the past couple of years, and, you know, they're making Steam has been doing, like, record-breaking, like, $20 million tournaments through it, so...
Yeah, no,
And
that makes
with
sense.
Heroes of the Storm with like bits and
Yeah.
like 3 different strategies that Blizzard is trying, I guess, and we're gonna see which one is successful in the end. And I Rush You Down has a good question in chat. Don't you guys think it's too expensive? The bits, that is.
So here's my thought process on that. I Rush You Down, and I actually, it's weird to say this, but I agree with what somebody on Reddit posted the other day, and that is you're not paying for a reward, you're sending money to your team. So you don't have to spend the $924 to get the big reward, right? Like you don't.
Yeah.
But I feel like the ratio of what I'm sending to a team and what they're getting is off a little bit. So like if I spend $14 on a team, that's 1,000 bits straight to a team. Each player gets $1. Which makes sense if you think about it,
That
right?
kind of makes me laugh for some reason.
A third to
14.
Amazon/Twitch,
Yeah.
a third to Blizzard, and then a third to the team.
It's 50-50-40, right?
Right. Right. Yeah, it's 50-50
And then
40.
out of the $14, $5 goes to the team, and then $1
Right.
goes to the player. And also subtracting whatever fees the team also probably has, right? If they have a manager or something.
Yep. So
That's kind of funny.
I will say that somebody just posted in the Heroes of the Storm subreddit a Hitchhiker's Guide to the Cheer, what you can choose to do and what you're awarded. It's actually a really, really great write-up. He's got all of the tiers and what each team gets and what you'll get, and what is the most cost-effective, which is apparently, $1.40. But go take a look. But yes, I agree. This is why I've said repeatedly, I would rather just buy it straight from Blizzard, have Blizzard split it 50-50 with the team and Blizzard, cut out the middleman, and let's just move on, So
Yeah. But this is a good first step.
yes,
Baby steps, right?
well, and that's what Daz said earlier tonight, was that maybe
Itty
this is
bitty
just the
steps.
first step to get in, right?
Yeah.
So
Well,
cool.
let's hope the fan base puts money where their mouth is.
Yep, we can hope.
I, for one, will be donating to MVP Black and NA team, but who that NA team is will be decided after this event.
Yeah. All right, so let's go through. Let's see. We got some role swaps. Little bit of role swaps here. And NA and EU that we already kind of alluded to a little bit. Anti-Hero and BKB have swapped positions. Shrey and Urho have swapped positions. Cattle and Fury have swapped positions. And Zuna and BKid have swapped positions. All four of these are melee players swapping to main tank. How do you feel about that?
Zuna is becoming a main tank?
Yes.
What?
Yes.
Isn't he supposed to be like a carry guy? Like, why is he doing tank?
It's a great question. I wish I had an answer for you.
You're kind of speechless with that, huh? I think
I have no idea.
I think Cattle going tank makes a little bit more sense. Shrey, yeah, I guess, because he's the shot caller of the team, right?
Correct.
Yeah, so I think Shrey going to tank, it could work out. But Zuna going to tank, what?
Wait, no. Shrey is moving off of the tank. Erho is moving on to the tank.
Oh, that's weird then. Is that okay? This is weird. But Zuna going to tank, huh? What the hell? I kind of like that Niventic is, changing things up and having Tomster heal and, doing all kinds of crazy stuff, but I don't think you want Zuna as a tank. Like, if you've seen Hero League games where that Muradin jumps in and then just dies and you're like, what were you doing? And then he goes, what? I was engaging the team.
Right.
I think that's what Zuna's going to be doing with tanks.
I mean, maybe not, right? Zuna is the shot caller, like I Rush You Down points out. So maybe he won't have that same struggle. Maybe everybody will be right behind him because he's going in and he's ready to go. It'll be interesting to see what happens with Niventic. I think Niventic is a team that doesn't know who's playing what and has a lot of people on the wrong spots. So I think they need to make just a lot of changes. Shrey was the tank. See, now you have me second guessing because both of you said the same thing. So let me go check. Shrey was the tank and then moved off the tank position at the beginning of the split. And right now,
says he's a warrior in the Master League page, but
they
that
both
might be
do.
outdated.
Airhose says he's a warrior too. So, but if you look, Shrey has not been on the main tanky type role the last couple of games that they've lost. So, I don't know that. Maybe they're gonna take it back after the maybe right now they're taking it back. And Shrey will be the tank again come phase 2 part 2. But Phase 2 Part 1, most of those replays I remember, Stray was not actually on the primary tank. He was on the secondary tank, like the Dahakas of the world, or something else. Similar to Cattle Fury. Like, when Cattle and Fury swap positions, it was like, what is going on? Here's Fury no longer on the main... Like, what? Like, why is Fury off on Dahaka land and Cattle's playing the tank? Like, what? But, yeah, that was a change that they made there, too. So, yeah.
Well, you got to change it up if you're not doing well, right? So,
well, and
good luck to them.
that's what Tempo Storm's definitely trying, right? And it seems they seem to be settling down into it, but it'll be... Like, Superstars was definitely better when Stray was the main tank, so I'm hoping he's going back. And I'm wrong, and you guys are right. All right. So, we had some balance changes recently. Most notably, Genji being nerfed, Uther being nerfed, Muradin being buffed. Do you see Genji no longer being first pick, first ban, or is he still first pick, first ban worthy?
As
a high-level player yourself, maybe not that high, but still much higher than most of the people that I talk to, where do you see that sitting?
I think the biggest thing is the biggest nerf to him is not the dodge or the health.
Okay.
It's the Shuriken mana and Dragon Blade, the cooldown being increased.
Right.
So now, like, Genji before this mana change for Shuriken, he could go even at like level 8 or 9.
Yep.
He can spam Shuriken and still be even on mana, but now he actually loses a lot of mana spamming Shuriken until like level 20 something. So you can't do that anymore. He has to be careful of like when he chooses to spam abilities. And then the cooldown on Dragon Blade going to 80, from 80 to 100 seconds. Are you kidding me? A whole 20 seconds. Like, that's 20 seconds off of Mosh Pit, and that's a 2-minute cooldown. So
right,
this is gonna be huge. And there are so many times where Genji's used to use Dragon Blade as a disengage because they didn't have E or their jump up. So it's really gonna hurt the team if Genji is forced to use Dragon Blade to blade out of a team fight. So this is something that teams, especially the higher level teams, can abuse, the fact that there's 20 seconds more of a window that they can play with to force a team fight. Yeah, it's going to be big.
Yeah.
I think Genji's knocked down a tier.
Okay. All right, what about Uther?
Uther's still Uther, I think.
Okay.
He does a tiny bit less healing, but it's like whatever. Like,
right.
The mana is only 10 mana. It's not a huge change. Like, Uther's spamming abilities are already going back and hurting a lot, so this doesn't really change that. But it might change like long drawn out team fights with Uther as a solo healer.
Right.
That's probably where it's gonna hurt him, and this is what this change is designed to do ultimately. But in like the regular team fight where Uther shines, like in the team fights that, you know, last 1 or 2 spell rotations, Uther's still god tier.
All right. Okay. And finally, Muradin getting buffed a bit. What do you think?
Yeah. Muradin has been seeing some play at my level. Like,
okay.
And it's usually the damage Muradin.
Okay.
And it still comes down to, like, if you're able to properly dive and, you know, not overextend like most Muradins do. But if you're one of those Muradin that doesn't, you're going to even be able to do that a little bit more because of the health change. And, yeah, I think he's going to make a small comeback in the HGC because he sees a little bit of play right now. But right now it's all about the stitches.
Right.
So I still think it, like, teams will shy away from Muradin because of his unstoppable nerf to his leap, and but I think Korea might jump back on him because Korea loved Muradin for months after, like, he was a bad hero in the other regions.
No, yeah, absolutely, absolutely, and he never really got nerfed to be a bad hero, right? So, yeah,
I mean, in terms of the general population, he was an awful hero, one of the worst. But the pros always managed to like make him work, just like the way they make Medivh work.
yeah, that's true. Okay, all right, and then Garrosh is Garrosh coming to HGC?
Okay, hold on. It's Garrosh.
All right, is Garrosh coming to
Yes.
HGC? Yes. Wait, was that a yes to that or a yes to me fixing it?
Like, as in, he's gonna be highly contested, or he's gonna see play?
Yes,
Honestly, I think so. Yeah.
I do. I share that opinion. There are others that are not so sure, though.
The biggest thing is his lack of engage, which
Yep.
that's gonna be the biggest tell. Like, if teams are able to, like, but even then, there are so many other ways to root or like slow or stun heroes into an engage that Garrosh can flourish. So,
Right.
like, yes, Garrosh is not gonna have a lot of engage potential, but once the team fight is already happening, he's so good at displacing heroes and just tanking so much damage.
Right.
I think he's definitely gonna see play.
Have you had a chance to play him at all yet?
Yeah, his Q is kind of hard to land though. There's a cast, like a 1 second cast or something.
Yeah.
And that little itty bitty pizza crust area is pretty hard to hit.
The pizza crust. It's definitely a challenge to hit that. That is for sure. But when you can
But
land it, it's nice.
His throw ability, oh my god.
See,
It
I'm still not sold on the throw ability.
Really?
Yeah. I
But
mean,
that
it's
whole talent tier, level 7, like, there are so many. It's such a flexible talent tier. You can throw allies, and that's a separate cooldown, by the way. So
right.
you throw allies into the enemy team, and you also give them armor. So that's pretty good, and it's on a separate cooldown from your E. And then there's ways to decrease enemy ability power by 40%, or decrease attack speed, or decrease healing received. It's such a flexible talent tier
Yeah.
at level 7 that you can have for the rest of the game. And I don't know, I think it's just going to be, if you're a good Garrosh, you're going to have so much potential and ability to displace the enemy team, focus who you want to focus, get a taunt if you want to, or just general team-wide AoE slow. I think he has so much potential.
Right.
If your team is able to get the engage first, though.
Yeah, that's the key. That's going to be the key, I think, for Garrosh. Did I get it right that time? It's weird.
Yes.
I don't know. It feels weird, man. Feels weird. All right. There's this one last note. Did you add this note or did Bahgz add this note?
This was me.
Okay. I don't understand this one, so I'm going to let you go and just run.
All right, I try to keep it short. So the ability effects, readability, and visual clutter in heroes. So Blizzard has already mentioned multiple times in multiple threads that they tend to, when it comes to ability, spell effects, and the flashiness of abilities, that they kind of err towards the more bland side and more controlled animations, to keep it less flashy and more readable for the general players, that they think they don't want too much visual clutter, and that if there's a team fight going on, you want to be able to read what's going on in the team fight, because like in League of Legends and Dota 2, if you kind of watch those games and there's a 5v5 team fight going on, sometimes it's really hard to see what's going on the field, because the abilities are so flashy and the animations are so big, and Blizzard purposely tries to avoid that whenever they can.
Right.
And it kind of reflects the design choices they make in the UI, because their UI is so clean. And if you look at the League of Legends UI or the Dota 2 UI, it's full of numbers and graphs and different things you can look at.
Yep.
And there are players who definitely like that, and there are players who definitely enjoy the clean UI of heroes. But lately, players have been complaining that there's not enough elements in the UI, that it's too sparse in its features, and that some of the heroes who should be more flashy, that the animations are too boring. Like, and the Korean community has been in an uproar or in a tizzy because they were hyped for a hero like Garrosh, but they kind of got a blander version of Garrosh than the Korean community was wanting, because towards the end of Garrosh's life, he got Shaw infused and he became a big ass Shaw monster.
He's gigantic, man.
Yeah, and then he's throwing like iron stars and like spinning around and throwing big ass mana things. So, like, not everything like that was cut from Garrosh's kit and his feel of the character, and he got more of a Wrath of the Lich King. He's up there as more of a foot soldier kind of Garrosh.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm just kind of asking if I'm asking more two things. Do you think we should have flashier animations for heroes, and like so that we can feel like a badass? Because Blizzard tends to shy away from those kinds of design choices. And then the second question is flashy better, and is it more confusing, or is it better to watch or better for viewers?
All right, so I'm gonna go with, I think flashy is more confusing for viewers and in the heat of the moment. But having said that, I'm sure. So at the pro level, I'm sure that may not be the case. But what's interesting for me is like specifically around this. If you watch, a lot of players turn their games to colorblind.
Lower graphics.
And colorblind.
Yeah.
They're not looking for flashy. If they were, they wouldn't have it turned down and on colorblind. Right?
And StarCraft 2 players also did the same thing.
Right. Which is why I think Blizzard skews that direction. So if that's the case, do you need to, like, you know, then the question becomes, well, does it make sense to do that? Or do you just stick with, no, we're going to stay the way we are, you know? And yeah, it's going to be not as flashy. I do think we got the wrong version of Garrosh.
You think so?
Yeah.
You think we needed Iron Star Shaw infused? Garrosh?
I'm going to let the skin that I crafted today be my answer to that. The first skin I did after I unlocked Garrosh was get the Iron Horde skin.
Yeah.
So I wanted the badass, I blew up the Shrine of Two Moons. I blew up Theramore. I wrecked this zone, and I've infused myself with Shaw power. That's who I wanted. Not who I got, but that's who I wanted. And I wanted the interaction with him and Chen to be nasty, and it wasn't. Or him and Thrall.
What does he say?
I honestly, I don't remember it now because I only heard it. It was once, but it was not nasty. Him and Thrall and him and Chen, I needed to be like, and even him and Jaina, which I haven't heard him and Jaina, but like I want that to be nasty, like throw down. I can't believe you're in here with me. I will kill you when this is over, kind of nasty. So.
Yeah, but you know, you gotta tone it down. It's a PG-13 game, right?
I know, but you know, reference it at least. Reference it.
Yeah, I mean, Garrosh called Sylvanas a bitch at one point.
That's true. True story.
But we're not gonna get any of that, unfortunately. Nope. Now, in terms of the watchability of Heroes Esports, I think out of the three MOBAs, I don't know if it's just me because Heroes is the only esports I watch right now, and I'm really familiar with the game, so I know what's going on the screen. Yeah. But League of Legends and Dota 2, when those team fights happen, it does look flashy, it does look cool, but you know, since I don't know the heroes and what they do for the most part, like I don't really know what's going on the screen. Right. And like to watch a MOBA and to enjoy a MOBA, and especially on the esports side, you have to be heavily invested in the game first to begin with. You have to learn a lot of heroes, abilities, items, maps, whatever, to actually know what's going on the screen. because as a casual player, it's pretty hard to watch esports unless
Yes.
it's like Rocket Ball or something.
So, my point to, I guess, my comment to this would be that there's a reason League plays one map and only one map in competitive. It makes it way easier. One of the struggles that I've always seen with
I said Rocket Ball. Is it Rocket League?
Rocket
right?
League, Rocket League.
I'm sorry.
Everybody knew what you meant. So the only thing I would point out is that, yeah, League of Legends plays on one map all the time, and it makes it a lot easier because you don't have to learn the map. You're just like, oh, it's League of Legends, and that's the map everybody always plays. So, League of Legends, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I get where you're coming from. I do think it would be nicer if you compare the two side by side, you can definitely see that Heroes is not quite to the League of Legends or even the Dota level in the polish or how it looks comparatively. But then you also look at the tournament, man. Like, I love watching League of Legends tournaments because it's like, oh my god, I want us to be in an arena that big, and I want these things to happen to us. But we're just not there yet. And the real question is, the real statement I guess I'd make is I don't know that we'll ever be there just because of Blizzard's history with esports. You know?
Yeah, and I think it's kind of like a pillar of one of their design philosophies of,
Right.
making it more watchable. But at the same time, you got like those big ass Dota team fights, and like there's lights all over the screen. You don't know what's going on, but it's hype and everyone's screaming or going crazy in chat. You're just like caught up in that moment too.
Right.
And a lot of it has to do with the flashiness of the abilities and the sound effects and all that.
No, absolutely. I agree. So, I mean, it would be cool, but it's just not cool.
Yeah.
We're not there.
I mean, hopefully we could one day, but it's also MOBA. You have to be so invested and learn so many things to
Right.
enjoy watching in the first place. So maybe it is just maybe it's in the DNA of MOBAs that it's going to be hard to watch anyway.
Well, that's why Rocket League is an easy one for people to put on TV. There's not anybody anywhere understands I need to get that ball in that goal, right? I'm not dissing Rocket League. I think it's a perfectly legitimate esport. But anybody,
some of the maneuvers they can pull off,
right?
oh,
it's insane, right? But
Yeah.
everybody, any viewer anywhere is gonna understand ball, goal, cars. It's not hard, right? It's taken my wife a while to get used to watching Heroes because she had to learn the game before she could really enjoy the esport aspect of it, right? The same is true for CSGO and any other esport that's out there right now. League of Legends, Dota 2, like they're all the same. You have to understand the game to really enjoy it. I can watch it. Hell, I can watch a Smite game right now. The production quality is great. I'll have a good time watching it, but I'm not going to understand all the ins and outs of what's going on right now. Right? Like, it's just the way it is. So,
Yeah. I just think the top-down isometric view of games, that type of style of gaming, it's on its way out. Even though, like, we love this game, like, it's
Right.
MOBAs are, like, there are not many new MOBAs, and it's kind of like a dying market, so to say.
right. Well,
Because, games like Rocket League and, there's, PUBG that's
Yep.
gaining a lot of momentum right now, so it's...
What's that one that Zoya's always talking about too? It's not PUBG. It's another kind of battler. They have a show about it. Arcane 8. I'm going to look it up.
Yeah, it's kind of like an ARAM map, but you carry a ball through.
Breakaway.
Like,
It's Town Hall Breakaway is what they call it. It's Oh yeah, it's just the game is called Breakaway. So yeah, it's very simple. It's
like a
almost like a
4v4
MOBA.
or something.
It's like a
Yeah.
MOBA meets Rocket League, right? So that'll be interesting. We'll probably hear more about that later next week because they're in California at Amazon Game Studios right now. So yeah. All right, man. I think we've made it to the end.
Oh yeah.
We have.
Damn.
It is 7 minutes early, or actually 6 minutes early, but we have made it to the end.
I thought we were gonna be like 30,
Like
40
short?
minutes early.
No,
Yeah.
man, we're right at the end. We're right at time. So, all right. I'm going to thank everybody for listening to Trollin HGC, a weekly podcast about Heroes of the Storm eSports, a member of the Trolls.gg podcast network. We stream live on our Twitch channel, twitch.tv/TrollsGG, every week on Wednesdays following the Nexus Trolls at 9:30 p.m. Eastern, 6:30 p.m. Pacific. Bacon, where can people find you?
You can find me on the Gamepush Squad podcast at www.gamepushsquad.com. And what that podcast is for those listening to this for the first time or something, we're the only explicit Heroes of the Storm podcast, very explicit by the way, made up of hosts of all different play levels. So we have one representative from every play level, one bronze, one silver, all the way up to a grandmaster player, which is yours truly. Yeah.
Yep. Are you back on the ladder? I thought you dropped just off, but I might have been seeing things.
I dropped just a bit off, and then I started working on the. I was so busy the past 2 weeks, I haven't been able to get back into it. But
Okay.
hopefully, I'll be able to before the season ends. But so the Game Push, we discuss the latest tips, news, strategies, and try to bring all the points of views of different play levels into the discussion, because we all realize that there are different truths to Heroes of the Storm at all the different play levels, because what works at one level may not really work at another level, and we try to get into those things too while talking about very inappropriate things.
It's true.
And body parts.
Definitely check out Gang Push Squad if you're over 18. If you're under 18, I can't suggest that to you, but you probably want to anyway because it's a cool show.
You want to, yeah.
Yeah. You guys are awesome guys. I had fun on the show and I like listening to you guys. I will also point out that yes, you are definitely a Grandmaster level player. I just want you to get back on that ladder because I enjoyed seeing you and seeing where you were on there. So hopefully you can find time to get back up there.
We're not currently live right now, but I'm definitely working on that, and I've been working my butt off to get the show on Twitch within like the next 2 to 3 weeks. So please keep an eye out for that and listen to the show. And we promise we'll make our dick jokes A+ quality.
They're usually at least B+ quality, so I can at least give you guys that. I can. I mean, you definitely have some A+ ones in there. I'm just saying, like, I've never really. I don't think I've felt it drop below maybe a B, a solid B. So
whatever you do, please don't listen to episode 69.
No, stay away from that episode. If you have not experienced the Gang Push Squad before, stay away from that episode. All right, so you can find me on Twitter at LiQuidGG, LiQiuDGG. That is the best place to follow me. I am up to all sorts of different things in the esports community for Heroes of the Storm. Follow me there to see what I'm working on and where you can see me doing random stuff on the internet. Thank you to all our Patreon supporters. If you like the show and you're looking for a way to support us, you can do so at patreon.com/TrollsGG. Or if you notice just up above on our Twitch channel, go ahead and hit that sub button there. You can subscribe to our show on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, or wherever you happen to find your podcasts online. You'll find our podcast there. You can visit our website at www.trolls.gg to watch this and past shows, along with past video streams, which can also be found on our YouTube channel. In Heroes of the Storm, if you'd like to hang out with us, please type /join_TrollsGG, TROLLSGG. Lots of people hang out in channel there. Bacon's there from time to time. I'm there. Bahgz is there. Everybody hits that channel and chats, gets games, does whatever they can do with their friends in Heroes of the Storm. For announcements about the show and Heroes of the Storm esports news, follow us on Twitter at Trollin HGC. That's TROLLIN HGC. Finally, if you need to get in touch with us, hit us up on Twitter at Trollin HGC or email us trollin@trolls.gg. Thank you to everybody that watched tonight. Thank you, Bacon, for joining me again in Bahgz' absence. Thank
you for having me on again.
No problem, man. Everybody have a wonderful night.